What's for everyone? So the Kenya Lioness coach reflects on team's performance in the Afrobasket women's qualifiers. So just give my 2 cents on this. But before we get into the content, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell because that's very important, and help a brother out. So without further ado, let me just get into it. So the Kenya Lioness won bronze in the Zone 5 Championship. Every situation offers you an opportunity to learn every day. So that's what the coach said. So I'll just be picking up from an article by Mozart Sport, our good friends there. So I'll leave the link to it in the description box. So those were the words of the Kenya Lioness head coach, George Mayenga, when he was asked about the summary of what was a valiant effort for the national team in the recently concluded FIBA Women's Afrobasket Qualifiers in Kampala, Uganda. So the national team came back to the country Monday morning. That was yesterday. This is not the gold medal they expected to have strapped in their necks in 2021, because in 2021 they won it all. They wore gold, but this time they got the bronze medal. So his quote as saying, "It is disappointing." Mayenga told Mozart Sport, "Losing and being knocked out by points is painful. We were points away from being in the finals, and when the FIBA tally came through, we were of course very disappointed." So Kenya lost one game out of 5 games they played, and it turned out to be the decisive game and the most important game. And Kenya lost to Egypt 82-57 on Saturday. So it was one of the most heartbreaking losses, and it goes to show you, like, that was the most important game that they had to play, the Egypt versus Kenya. So on paper, Egypt, the tournament champions, lost as many games as we did. Uganda lost even more, depending on how you look at it. We did our part, but it just didn't show up against Egypt. It was that close, so Mayenga said. We will look at this year's games as a missed opportunity, but also an avenue for us to learn and improve our chances for qualification. So the coach Mayenga said. So this is the thing. I was watching the post game. I watched the post game interview. It's like the coach wasn't aware, like, of the magnitude. They were like, "Oh, we started off slow. This happened. They got up in them points, and they won the game." So it's something that they didn't take seriously. I can say, like, they didn't take this game seriously all the way from the first quarter. I just saw glimpses of a blowout when I watched that game. At some point, I just clicked off because it was just very embarrassing to see the Egyptian side make sweet layups of the glass. They were doing everything. They really literally toyed with our backcourt. And I even made a video addressing that, and they just went into full detail on it. But it was so embarrassing to see the Kenya Lioness team go down like that. It's not something that you expect to happen, especially with such a very important game on the line, especially if your job is to make sure to win every game. But that game, the game that was most important, they were just not serious with it. So following the Afrobasket Championships in 2021, where the team finished 9th, the Lioness were out of the scene till weeks to these qualifiers. A whole year passed by without a window of the team to meet to play competitive games. So you could see since 2021, like, that's the last time the national team was active with the Afrobasket. And 2022 came and it just came and went and passed us by like that. The team wasn't inactive. So, and also, like, there was also a report that came out that was saying that even the coach came out and said they didn't have enough time to prepare. So you could see that's one of the many list of excuses that the team can have, especially the coaching staff can have, to attribute to the results. So the lack of exposure is what Mayenga feels need to be dealt with in as far as boosting the team's chances is concerned. So the lack of opportunity, that's based on, like, the way the team has been setting up and preparing for the competition. But all year round, I've never seen, like, any national team preparations for the women's side. They always go to a training camp 2 weeks before the tournament, then expect to win it all, which it doesn't work like that. So one thing that they must do is train for these things, because you can see the Egyptian side, they were active, they played, they have been active, even if it's like just training, just red shot the whole year. They've just been, working on themselves. The Kenya Lioness team just pick up the players. They go to the training ground, whichever place, whether it's Nyayo or Lindsay. Then they just do 2 weeks training, 2 weeks, 3 weeks training. Then they go to a major contest. Then they're surprised of the result. So I don't think we should be surprised with what happened. So some of the girls made their debuts, obviously, having been in such situations before, and you could sense some stage fright creeping in. Maega said, my personal proposal will be to get ways in which young players get an opportunity to train or even compete in set national team camps, maybe once in every 4 months. This is just exactly what I said. So this is what the coach said. And the strategy that the Kenya national teams, both the men and women's side, they take a huge layoff. The team is inactive. Then they come back last minute to prepare for a major tournament. Go out there, get their asses kicked or asses handed to them. Then come back and just bring excuses. When you hear the coaches bring the excuses, you can hear the players bring up the excuses. They say chemistry is the issue. Yet they've only been playing together for at least 2 weeks before. The poor preparation. You see players flying in. They meet hours before, training. The same thing that's happening with the women's team, same thing happened in the men's team. I've covered this. So it's something that is so repetitive, and it's something that they try to, sweep under the rug, and that's, just, try to say that, we didn't have enough exposure, we didn't have this. Okay, enough exposure is okay, but you have time to prepare and create a team and assemble a team that can do this. So that's one thing that they failed to do. So that will be, continuing, that will be very helpful for them and to us, the coaches, because it will prepare them for such tournaments. With some players on school holidays, that will be a brilliant time to have them around. So that's what the coach said, especially when it comes to preparing early and training. So there were things that contributed to this end result. The team struggled to shoot consistently from the three, not having a legit 3-point shooters, and focusing all their attention on the front court was a bad move. I just saw a situation where they left all their shooters. Mima was available, Ashley was available, Liz was available from the UN Dynamites, Ashley, very good point guard from the ZTEC Sparks. They left Mima, very good starting guard at the Kenya Ports Authority Dockers, the women's team, left the shooters, focused on the front court. So that's one thing that they were just setting themselves up to bottleneck their chances in shooting. Because if you look at 3-point shooting percentage, we were dead last. Even the teams that, the team like Rwanda went 0 for 4, but they didn't shoot poorly like that from deep. So the lack of floor spacing was the major issue. The team had the worst shooting from 3. They shot 16.1% in 5 games. That's the worst. The technical bench was very ineffective in knowing how to match up against teams. Opposing teams should be prepared for differently. Like the technical bench should have prepared for Egypt differently, Rwanda differently, South Sudan differently, Uganda differently, Rwanda differently. So instead of sticking to the same game plan for every single team, you could see Egypt, very experienced, they knew how to switch up, and they switched up on us, and when we paid the price. We won the games, and it swept everything under the rug, like the turnovers, like the fouls, like the, bad plays, misplay calls from, who's supposed to be like the number one option. Got swept under the rug just after just winning. So you could just see they just use like winning, you just won it, you can just do it our way. And it quickly became something that costed us in the end. It costed us a shot at the finals, costed us a ticket to the Afrobasket women's cup. I mean, it's tournament. I mean, it was just different. It was just sad to see. The coaching staff, I can see, was very inadequate, not having the knowledge and skills to make in-game adjustments. This is not like a statement to say like the coach doesn't know what they're doing, but I feel like they should have approached every matchup in a different way and improve on what the mistakes that they had. Because if you look at like the net box plus minus, we are dead negative. Players who are playing heavy minutes had majority of the time you could see them having very huge minus, negative plus minus, which is in the negative side, way negative. You could see a player having like playing heavy minutes like 30 minutes, 25 minutes, having a negative plus minus for minus 25. And I mean, it was sad. I mean, it's something that the coach should have mentioned it, and those players should have been told to try to be efficient in how they are going about scoring, how they're going about defense, taking out the basketball. You could see majority of the time the turnovers, travel calls. I just saw a lot of travel calls being called. Players don't know how to put a footing. Footwork is not there, especially in the front court players. So even layups, you can see guards like traveling on layups. A front court player. I don't want to go out and mention names because the footage is already there. You could see a player like having happy feet at the post, being turnover. So I mean, it was just so hard to watch. Not to mention the overall game plan on the court. No clear floor general. No number one, number two, or number three option on the floor. At some point, the team was playing hot potato with the ball in many possessions. Players did not know who to refer to as the chemistry wasn't established in time. So you could see like there's no clear number one, number two, number three option. Who's their go-to scorer? Who's their get a bucket, guy in the court? There was nothing there. So this is one thing that really, really hampered like the progression, because you could see a lot of great teams, elite teams, have like a number one, number two, number three, even number four option in the team, and they have get a bucket players on the squad. They have players, if they want a basket, they can just go to them and they just get that instant offense. We didn't have an instant offense. You could just see point guard bringing the ball up court, dishing it out, going somewhere else, giving the ball at the post, bounce of a bad shot, turnover, transition layup. That's how Egypt were able to beat us, and they beat us emphatically. Field goal shooting was abysmal, not even close to average. 32.8% was poor. I mean, it was just abhor at that point. The Kenya Lioness team had 119 turnovers, 88 personal fouls, which turned out to be very costly, especially in the Kenya versus Egypt game. Those turnovers really, really hurt us in the end. Not having the awareness to adjust to Egypt proved costly. The Kenya Lioness team got toyed for 40 minutes by Egypt, utter domination from Egypt, utter capitulation from the Kenya Lioness team. And due to their poor performance, they had to settle for the third place as Egypt went ahead, got past the Kenya Lioness team, got past Uganda, and they went ahead and won the finals. The Egypt side, I mean, they just did what they had to do, and they just, blew out they blew out Rwanda after losing to 1 point against Uganda. And when they met Kenya, their mentality was take care of Kenya and make sure that you just take them out completely. And it's unfortunate that the Kenya Lioness team and their coaching staff didn't pick up on how brutally how brutal Egypt were to Rwanda. They blew them up by at least 47 points. And that was coming after Egypt losing 1 point to Uganda. So, man, I mean, they didn't pick up on that, and it just cost us in the end, because this Egyptian team was hungry to win. And I can just say Egypt just has our number. I mean, A Sporting dealt with the Kenya Ports Authority in the Zone 5. In the Zone 5 finals. A Sporting again, Africa Women's Cup, dealt with KPA, eliminated KPA. So, and they went ahead and won again. So it is what it is, man. So Kenya got the result based on the effort that they put in, playing for the third place and going home where we belong, watching the Afrobasket from the sidelines, and just watching another nation who left the trophy. So, I mean, it's just something hard. It's just a bitter pill to swallow, especially when you're just following on, Kenyan hoops. And I mean, it's pretty upsetting, very upsetting. So hopefully they're able to turn things around. Hopefully they can have this time to try to rebuild and try to figure out what went wrong, and also highlight their mistakes and work on them and improve on them, because as we stand right now, it's not looking good at all. So so that's all I got for you guys. So if you guys like the video, make sure to leave your feedback down in the comment section down below, because it really helps me out a ton. And I'm out. Peace.